I've been told I'm fairly attractive in a dark room. Hello and welcome to Cory's Corner. Today we don't have any set topics. I'll give you guys an update on what's been going on over the last 3 weeks and shit like that. But before we get to that, welcome to the channel, a returning guest after quite a long absence, Small Time Republic, otherwise known as Matt. Hail, sir.
Hello. Good to see you.
Great. It's great to have you here, sir. How have things been?
Been going all right. Appreciate you having me on. And yeah, it's been a while.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
But glad to have you back on the show. And like I said, we don't have any set topics today, so we're just going to be off the cuff talking and stuff. It's going to be a good time. If anyone watching right now wants to join the stream, then guess what? You got to be a part of the Talks a Lot Town Square Gilded. So the join link is on my channel page because I forgot to put it in the description this time. Yeah. So here's a fun little update on everything that's been going on within the last 3 weeks and why things have been a little weird. So 3 weeks ago, and I'm actually going to preface this with and this is going to sound incredibly rude, but save the condolences. Keep them to yourself, people. Okay. But 3 weeks ago, my mom died. And it fucking threw me off something fierce, right? So like I couldn't concentrate. I was suffering from insomnia really bad. It wasn't even my normal grief cycle. Okay. My normal grief cycle is similar to other people's, but it's a lot more anger phase than anything else. This time it was just basically like I have no motivation. I can't sleep. I'm stressed, etc., etc. Granted, it took us 3 weeks to actually get her fucking cremated, but you know, that's life, I guess. But anyway, then beyond that, I've been trying to distract myself from that by getting into creation, right? Just creating stuff, making, producing, going. And it's actually caused me to become incredibly obsessive over what I'm producing right now that you guys haven't even seen yet. So stay tuned for all that. Music is coming back to the Talks a Lot Entertainment channel. We're going to be doing mental dysenteries and stuff like that. It's just going to be a little bit further in the future. But because I've been obsessing over music and details and like getting everything just right, and because it's got to be just right, I have been neglecting you guys. That being said, I still gained 3 subscribers on YouTube after not doing anything pretty much for a couple of weeks, which surprises me because YouTube is weird. Just going to throw that out there. But anyway, that's what's been going on my side. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get back to a regular schedule at some point. But you never know. So anyway, so have you seen the new Mario movie that came out, Matt?
I have not. I do think they picked a very good window to bring it out in when it didn't have as much competition. First of all, I know you don't want to dwell on it, but I do want to extend my condolences. And
Thank you.
And I think you have probably done a good thing by throwing yourself into the things that you enjoy, since that took place. So it's anything you can do to to get your mind off of it is probably the best thing, or at least to take breaks mentally from it.
Yeah, for sure.
But as far as the Mario movie, I have not seen it, but I've heard that it was, while not overly complex, which you wouldn't expect from that type of movie, and
Right.
you don't really need from that type of movie. I've heard that it it was not preachy, and that it was just they were just trying to make a good, entertaining movie. And when you combine that with the window it came out in, when it didn't have as much competition as you do in the summer, it did well.
It did really well. And I actually had a chance to watch it for the first time recently. So here's a better late than never review, and I'll save the spoilers for the people who haven't seen it, because I don't really like spoiling things for people that they might want to see. but whatever. Anyway, so I got to watch it the other day, and I absolutely loved the movie in regards to the way it was put together, the script, the animation, all of the Easter eggs that were in there. My son spent almost the entire time just identifying the music they used in the background from the various video games. And I'm all like, how do you know that?
Right.
Like, okay, you know?
Yep.
Because apparently he actually goes in and listens to soundtracks on video games and stuff, which I understand is sometimes a very popular thing. But when it's Mario, like, really? Anyway, he's 15, no prefrontal cortex yet. Decision making saved for later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're watching, bub, love you. But they did a great job putting it together. I loved all of the little Easter eggs that they put in it. And my one big problem was, of course, the presentation of Mario and Luigi without the accents. I can understand why they didn't do it the whole time. It's a kind of hard to talk like this for 2 hours, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, it was a decent movie. My other major complaint is the fact that I went this entire time without hearing that song Peaches. Okay. And I mean literally the entire time the movie's been out without hearing a single bar from that. And I finally listened to it on the movie, and I gotta say, it's a Jack Black song, and it was kind of boring. It was annoying.
Yeah.
It was I don't see why that was so hyped up. Like, oh my gosh, the Peaches song. Yay. And it's
I
like,
think it was a little
well,
bit overrated as well. I have seen the song, and
yeah.
I mean it's Jack Black, and he's fine in small doses, but um, yeah, to me it was not revolutionary.
Right.
It was nothing special.
And I did like the fact that they included the original voice actor. I can't remember his name for, the actual voice actor for Mario and Luigi and stuff as like the grandpa and stuff like
Yep.
that. I absolutely loved that. I'm just really bad with names and can't, my son would be screaming it right now if he knew we were talking about this. But um yeah, those were my only two complaints with it. Peaches was overhyped and the voice acting wasn't what I expected, but it was well delivered and I still engaged with the characters despite that slight change. And overall, I would actually give this movie on Cory's overall scale of entertainment a 8. Okay.
Wow.
Higher end, actual good movie. Um, Also keep in mind that most of the movies that I watch, especially recent movies, get a high score of around 5 out of 10. So this is actually really good in my book. I look forward to seeing them expand the Nintendo cinematic universe, and hopefully I want a properly well done Legends of Zelda movie. Hopefully
Yep.
without any like woke bullshit that they are apparently pushing, that the woke people are pushing for Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, I think it's called,
Yep.
something like that. Yeah, and it's like whatever. I want a good one, but I want them to include one thing from the 1990s series or 80s or 90s series of Legend of Zelda, and that's his damn it, I forgot it. It's when he's giving total attitude to Princess Zelda.
Link.
Yeah, when Link is giving total
Yeah.
attitude to Princess Zelda. Oh yeah. Well, excuse me, princess. That's the one thing I want them to put in from that
Yeah.
animated series. The rest of it, they could do it exactly like the Mario movie, and that would be one of the coolest action movies in the history of ever. Give it to me, Nintendo. I'm ready for more.
Yeah. It would make sense that Zelda would be the second, I guess, Nintendo cinematic universe or whatever they're calling it,
Yeah.
movie. The problem is the first few might be great, but by the time we get to the seventh or eighth Nintendo movie, you're gonna have people complaining.
Yeah, because it's just gonna, if they do that and they just pump it out video game movie, video game movie, video game movie, then it's just gonna turn into the MCU all over again, and we're not gonna give a fuck at all.
Yep. It gets
Pardon my
diluted.
language, but
It's like the Multiplicity movie with Michael Keaton, where by the time you get to like the fifth or sixth clone,
yeah,
they're getting a little wonky or a lot wonky.
yeah,
Uh,
and they have a lot of potential though
yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
The
video game
potential's there. I
movies.
mean, the amount of directions they could go, the amount of characters they could go. Um, it's pretty amazing. I would like to see a Mike Tyson's Punch Out movie. Um,
That would be awesome,
yeah,
dude. I loved the Punch Out Easter eggs that they had in the Mario movie. By the way, you need to watch that, Matt.
I got you. So that's
Real
they do references to other Nintendo games.
they do, and it is
Cool.
fantastic. Real quick, because I'm an airhead, let's say hi to the chat. We do have Vince Womack, the ever-present mod on the channel. He is fantastic and dedicated. And hail to Trina. Uh, Wonderful to see you. It's been a long time. Glad you could be here. If you want to join link is in the Gilded. And of course, we have Small Time Republic. Hail. I I could have sworn I banned that guy though. I mean, oh wait, that's right. No. But overall, I've been fairly impressed with the video game movies that they've been releasing, the animated video game movies. Because they did a great job with Sonic. Obviously, that set the bar for video game adaptations.
They listen to their audience.
They did, and
Yep.
that's one of the most important things that companies could do right now. I know they didn't put high emphasis on it, and some of them aren't going to. Looking at you, Disney. But all in all, like if they listen to their audience and deliver them the video game content that they want on screen in the proper way, then they will start making bank again.
Yep. No, I agree. And again, just with Nintendo, I mean, the amount of franchises they could pick from it. You could have a Donkey Kong movie.
That would be
Um,
sick.
just going by just with their old school stuff. They could make references to like blowing on the cartridge.
Right.
There's all kind of stuff that
Yeah.
all kind of quirky little things they could
So
do. I think with Zelda there was like and I never played the Zelda game, so I think there was like a golden NES cartridge.
mhm.
Um,
I
all
had the
that.
gold cartridges for Link's Awakening, Nintendo, the Ocarina of Time, and it wasn't Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask didn't come with a gold cartridge. What was it? It was another one like that,
Yep.
but it's so great. So fantastic. But I will admit that I absolutely hate and despise Seth Rogen as a person. He's just a piece
Yep.
of shit, but he fucking killed it as Donkey Kong. His acting abilities are hit and miss these days, but with his voice acting on Donkey Kong, he actually did a really good job. And I will openly admit that I hate the man, but he's still got chops,
I,
and he did sell Donkey Kong. So if they do a Donkey Kong movie, I do hope that they continue with Seth Rogen because he does a good job.
I think he's
Hail to Mass Grave. He says Majora's Mask was definitely gold. Did they have? Maybe that was it then, because after those, I just remember getting addicted to Wind Waker, and then just like that was that for a long time.
yeah. Yeah, I think Seth Rogen's he's at his best when he's not in control of a project. Whenever he's in control,
Yeah,
those seem not to go well, like Sausage Party, and I think there was like
right.
a Christmas one, and yeah, it's the Teenage
Yeah,
Mutant Ninja Turtles one doesn't seem to be looking too good thus far. Um, but I mean, like I liked him in Knocked Up. I like some of the
yeah.
some of the stoner stuff he did. Yep.
As a talent, he is incredibly gifted, if you will. I can't say gifted. That goes to people that actually like can sell every role, like Gary Oldman. Oh my god, that man is
Right.
great. But anyway, Seth Rogen, like as long as he's a talent, there's a higher chance of success than if he's actually in control of something. Because I think it was Zach and Mary do a porno or something like that, and
Yep.
all of the other one. When he's in control, it's incredibly stupid and childish,
Right.
and that's, in my opinion, not the greatest media. Don't get me wrong, I love stupid, childish shit sometimes, but that's all he does. Hail to the toll bat. Yay, the chat finally loaded. It's about damn time. I mean, we've only been going for 14 minutes.
It happens. By the way, I looked up the original voice actor for Mario was a man by the name of Charles Martinet.
Martinet, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and like basically all he did in the movie was woohoo, and I'm like, that's fantastic. And I really do hope that we get a Luigi's Mansion movie out of it. because that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love Luigi's Mansion. I haven't had a chance to play the third one yet, but it's so good. Mario, it's so good. But
Yeah, I've seen just a little bit of gameplay action of it. There's a ghost, right? I mean, that's a big part of that. Yeah. Yep. And
and
also one thing Nintendo's got going for it is they have their brand has a great reputation currently.
yes,
Especially when you compare it to some of the other entertainment franchises.
yeah, they have
People
some questionable practices when it comes to streamers, but we'll let that go.
Mhm. Yeah, but I mean, when people think of Nintendo, they still think of quality. They think of
hmm
games that are that run pretty fluidly, that have been
Yeah,
pretty well tested. They don't really think of like the woke stuff. So
yeah, they've avoided it pretty well so
yeah,
far.
and there's a couple Mario games coming out this fall.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, Super
yeah,
Mario Bros. Wonder looks amazing.
yeah.
I can't wait to play that game. Did you see the trailer for that?
I saw. I guess it was about a month ago. They released two different trailers, and
Mm,
yeah, I think that was one of them I saw. Yep.
dude, yeah, the Elephant Mario. I look forward to seeing what Elephant Mario can do. You
Yep.
know, Vince Womack says the Mario Tennis movie will suck. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
probably if they actually go forward with that. As long as they don't go along around like I would love to see a Wario movie of some kind, or at least like something to do with Wario. I know everybody's like Waluigi, but I'm like, no,
Right.
give me Wario. I am a Wario and I'm gonna win. I mean, that would be fantastic. Tolbat. He says, a few years ago, everyone was like, sell out and stop making systems, yada, yada, yada. And here they are back on top. Pretty much take that, Nintendo haters. Yeah, legit. And it goes to show you if you stick to a model that's been proven to be successful, it pays off. He's
Yep.
looking at you, Hollywood.
Yep.
But that's the life we live in right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of rumors going around that they're talking Smash Bros is where it's going to wind up, and of course, Vince wants a rated R version of that. But I'm pretty sure you can already find that online. Just saying, you could probably Google it. Don't do
Yeah.
it in incognito mode, bro. Trust me.
I have found anything you can think of to Google, someone else has thought of it,
Already,
and then
yep,
taken it one or two steps further than you even thought, and you're like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm normal."
right. I
Yeah.
I feel that way a lot, especially since I joined Reddit.
Yeah.
Uh, I joined Reddit and I'm all like, damn. Like I was used to 9gag and it just became a bunch of woke, overweight ass fucks that didn't
Yeah.
know anything about how to be funny. So I switched over to Reddit thinking like maybe this place will be better. That was a stupid thought. Um, that place is a cesspool of idiocy too. Like Twitter. Are you on Twitter, Matt?
I am. Yep. Yep.
Is it true that they've limited screen time for users now?
I did read that this so right before the whole like Threads announcement came out with the new Mark Zuckerberg, Meta version of Twitter that quite intelligently is apparently going to, if you have an Instagram account, it can take your different contacts from that and transition it over to Threads, which is a good business practice on their part because that keeps some of them from having their new users on Threads starting from scratch. But whenever Threads was being developed, I guess especially late in the game, that's when Musk came out and said he was wanting to limit views because apparently he was worried about competitors. Um, it's some term called scraping data, where
Oh
they were
yeah.
able to, I guess to gather enough, a lot of information. And I guess he was worried about like bots. That's the only reason I could think that he limited views per account. And then,
Okay.
I think if you're like a verified member, in other words, paying that monthly fee, then I think you're
Mm.
allowed to view more. So he was trying to, create a tier system in that respect. Um,
I always seem to
yeah.
bail on these platforms at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
Honestly, I got rid of Parler like literally right before they got taken down by AWS.
and that
And
was such
then
BS, by the way.
yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was. Parler was a fantastic choice, but yeah.
they literally got taken down for being too popular too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trina says
AWS
it
was
was a
like,
stupid move.
yeah, yeah. And as far as the Twitter thing, yeah, it's I have not reached that capacity in terms of number of views per day, but it's more the principle of it. Um,
Yeah.
Even if a 1% of Twitter users would ever hit that daily limit, it's still not wise.
Yeah, no, it's not because then they go to find alternatives like Thread, apparently. Tolbat says, Cory, I heard they limited screen time, but I never really saw one. And he also says that I've been banned under Elon so many times I lost count. Yeah, and I think it was Toxic Man Flu or someone within the Dix division that said it doesn't take very long to become totalitarian, and it really doesn't. It took Elon like 2 seconds to just be like, "Yep, see, Tolbat gets it, free speech, my ass."
Yep, that and that they say that you know absolute power corrupts absolutely, but
Mm-hmm.
I think the corrupt are attracted to power before they're even. I think you have some people that are corrupt before they even get the power, and it's just that power doesn't attract those types of individuals. But yeah, you're right. It's just it's in man's nature to where if he controls a lot, the devil on his shoulder becomes a little more powerful than the angel on his other shoulder.
Indeed,
Yep.
indeed, it does. Vince Womack says, "Is Gap still a thing?" I'm I'm pretty sure they still sell clothes. I think so. Unless you're
I guess
talking
he
about the
was.
organization Gay and Proud, because then I'm pretty sure they're still a thing. But Trina says Gab is still a thing, but you can't talk about sports. That's weird.
That's odd. That's like the least controversial thing you can talk about.
You'd think
Yeah, yeah. Um,
that's. Do they realize how many sports fans there are in the universe? I mean, come on. I'm pretty sure aliens pirate ESPN. I
right.
mean,
And there's a tremendous amount of crossover between Gab users and sports fans,
right?
because Gab attracts mostly conservative users, and your conservatives are sports fans,
Yeah,
or more, or
hardcore.
an average conservative is more likely to be a sports fan than an average liberal,
That's fair.
just going by percentages.
So Trina says the owner of Gab is a Christian fundy. He calls it sports idolatry. Um, okay then. That's a little different. More power to you, Gab man. You want to use your religion to skew some things into limiting your fan base.
Yep.
I'm going to call that a Disney business move. Good job.
I would also
Uh,
challenge the whoever made that decision at Gab that they be wary of people that worship politicians,
right?
because that
You
same thing
want to
can happen.
talk about religion, politics is the
Yeah.
new is the new Catholicism, if you
Yeah.
will.
It's also
Is
the new sports. Yeah, in many ways.
indeed. I keep hoping it'll turn into a contact sport to where we can at least have like a cage fight for presidency. Like, these are the two people you chose from both sides.
Yeah.
Now, they will enter the 8-sided cage of death and fight it out until one becomes victorious. Like, I would love that.
That'd be great. Well,
You
I
want
mean,
to talk about
Zuckerberg and,
bumping ratings.
yeah, Zuckerberg and Musk might get in the ring. Who knows?
Man, okay, those two and that whole situation can fuck right off, in my personal opinion, because they're I want to see a celebrity death match or at least a celebrity cage fight, but obviously this is a fucking ploy. Nobody's going to get hurt. There's not going to be any knockouts. There's not going to be anything fun. Like, I would be surprised if Elon doesn't get winded getting into the cage. All right. And then Zuckerberg, what's he going to do? Huh? He's gonna do yoga in the middle of the fucking thing and like, oh, look at me, I'm great. Yeah, he has martial arts training, but neither of them are what I would call professionals. And even if they received a year's training for this fight, I still wouldn't think it'd be entertaining.
Yep.
Personally, unless we can slap them with some anabolic steroids and some PCP right before the match. So they're, and that would be fantastic. The billionaire blowout of 2024. Like that would be great. But, I guess drugs are bad. Drugs are bad and good. But, in this case, do it. I want to see a juiced up Olympics, by the way. Slap every single person that's been kicked out of major sports for steroid use and altering, game enhancing, performance enhancing substances and let them on the field. You know, at the end of the first event, we have 27 heart attacks and 33 people throwing rage fits.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know if it will happen. I know that Musk is. I mean, you talked about him being winded. He is, a little on the hefty side, and he's 51 years old. I mean that's a factor too. Um, the the YouTuber, there may be a better term for him, but Lex Friedman, that he does interviews on YouTube. He has, I know he's wrestled Zuckerberg. I say wrestled, done Brazilian Jiu Jitsu with him. And he may have done the same with Musk, although I don't. There's footage of him with Zuckerberg, but anyway, he's talked about how how both are really good, and I'm like, of course you're going to say that the billionaires that you hang out with are really good at something.
Right.
You're you're not going to be
Right.
like that billionaire guy that could change my life monetarily. Yeah, he sucks. Yeah.
Well, and then like almost immediately after they started talking about this fight, they directly started receiving offers from professional fighters to train them. And like I would kill to be trained by Nate Diaz, but can and either of these guys actually survive a Nate Diaz training? I doubt it. Or that Russian guy that's just a fucking beast that I can never remember the name of. Like, and hail to John Edgar. He says, hello, gents. Just got here. My vote is for Zuckerberg versus William Shatner. I would actually watch that fight because I bet you Shatner's got some shit up his sleeve. Even though he's like 900 years old, he'd be all like, what are you going to do, little whippersnapper? I learned this from Spock.
Yeah.
Like man's been to space. What's Zuckerberg got? Nothing. Robot eyes and some media company that some people have heard about.
Well, that, and whenever Zuckerberg testified, he didn't really help with the whole conspiracy theory about him being a lizard person. Because whenever he tried to sip water, and I obviously it was out of a cup as opposed to this, but it was like I am a human drinking water. This is how a human drinks water.
Yeah.
It was always just this is what a real person would do.
Right.
If I were.
Hail Real Wade Nation gaming clips. Wonderful to see you, sir. But yeah, like he really doesn't do anything that dispels that myth. Like that rumor that he's a robot or a lizard person or anything. Like everything he does, especially when he tries to appear human, makes it worse.
Yeah.
Like he's all, hello, fellow humans.
Yeah.
Like, shall we do some bipedal earth stuff?
Yep. That, and I don't know the numbers on it, but I have heard that the whole meta virtual reality stuff has not done well based on the money that they've spent on it. Which from the clips I've seen of it, it basically is like a torso and like a head that's not connected to the torso with arms, that it's very cartoonish looking. So if someone's trying to have a really immersive experience, it's basically it's not any different than like Wii boxing from 10 years ago.
Right. Well, and then on top of that, okay, what was it, a week after they launched the metaverse, they started limiting your ability to do things because people were complaining that they were being molested.
Oh, geez.
I'm like,
that's not good
okay,
PR.
If it's just a torso and like not even realistic, are we sure about that? And then like they instituted like a social distancing bubble inside of it or something where you can't get any closer than like 6 feet to another person. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all kinds of dumb.
This is what happens when you take tech cues from Google. Okay. Name one successful Google device that's actually launched. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, all 7 people that got Google Glass, I'm sure that they enjoy those.
Right. I mean, yeah, for the, what was it, like 10 grand you had to buy that for?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
I
not
have to
realistic.
have all of the newest tech.
Yep. I mean, they're really pushing their phone.
They really are.
Yeah.
Because, Google it needs to be easier for Google to track things,
Yeah.
right? He
Yeah.
says the next generation data did spend some time in the past. Just saying. He did, but I hope to God Brett's like data is not Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg is not data. That's not okay.
I think it'd be great if Brent Spiner said, like, if somebody asked Brent Spiner if data was Zuckerberg, and he just replied with like a question mark, or who knows?
Maybe.
Like, play along with
Maybe.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. They sent him back to the wrong timeline to get him trained on social norms, though.
Yeah. That and I didn't read the article, but I saw the title of an article yesterday that said Facebook has spent, I think, something like $42 million or some huge amount in the past 36 months on Zuckerberg security. And I'm thinking, dude, as much as you're worth, you ought to be paying for your own security.
Right.
That shouldn't be coming out of the company's money.
You'd think, but no. All right. I'm gonna do something. I did this before, but this time I'm gonna preview the entire song. So just bear with me. This is the Frank Lee theme song called "What Do You Know." I know this is just random out of nowhere, but I've been wanting to share this for a while, and it's still not finished as far as audio quality goes. But let me know if you can hear it okay.
I'm Frank Lee, and this is an odd adventure. Heard me a rumor just the other day, and now I'm off to investigate government conspiracies and little green men running down mysteries once again. What do you know about what's going on? What do you know about what went wrong? I'm Frank Lee, and I'm here to say, yeah, it's time to investigate. What do you know? Yeah, what do you know about the lights in the skies with the haunting glow? What do you know? Yeah, what do you know about the shadows and demons hunting for your soul? It's frankly odd with a touch of strange, frankly odd in the modern age, frankly odd adventure time. Any less a man would lose his mind. And this is where things got odd. Heard me a rumor just the other day about monsters and ghosts coming out to play. So I grabbed my gear, yeah, I'm on my way. Time to put an end to the games they play. Locked and loaded, ready for a fight. There's something sort of bumping in the night. Never gonna run from my fate. Yeah, it's time to investigate. Bounding into buckwall, diving blue holes, exploring sunken cities and UFOs. Putting down dogmen and swimming Loch Ness. Eliminating the gobble squatch for such a mess. What do you know about what's going on? What do you know about what went wrong? I'm Frank Lee, and I'm here to say, yeah, it's time to investigate.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's
like
Frank
it.
Lee's theme song.
Maybe one day there'll be a Frank Lee conspiracy guy crossover. Wes's character.
Hell yeah, that'd be interesting.
in the multiverse.
The multiverse of
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to come up with a name for that one. Vince says audio okay, voice overpowers the music just a tad. Yeah, I'm still working on learning how to master tracks so that doesn't happen, which is one of the reasons I said this isn't finished quite yet. Trina says I love this song. She's the one person outside of my household that had early access to that song. And then Vince Womack says, nice. Yeah. Still working on learning mastering. I'm going to be releasing a whole bunch of music here in a little bit. I've been doing that quite a lot. It is, as someone pointed out to me, balm for my soul. Singing just makes you feel good. Even if you're not good at it, you should do it anyway. It's a good time. John Edgar says, pretty badass. Thank you. I was hoping it would give a good feel for an intro, because the first 30 seconds of that's going to be the introduction for Frank Lee Declassified Adventures. If you're a member of the Talks a Lot Town Square Gilded, the new logos for Frank Lee are up on the Gilded exclusive tabs, so you can go check those out. They're pretty awesome. And of course, if you want to start buying some of my tracks, they're available on Cory's Music on Bandcamp over there, CoryHarrison.bandcamp.com. John Edgar says it had just a dash of Johnny Cash in it. I love Johnny Cash's vocals, and he's actually, so I'm not a trained singer. I am a learn as I go singer and stuff. So I started out by copying other musicians. And one of the songs that I used to sing to warm up all the time is God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash. And he's one of my favorite vocalists of all time, just because of the soul that he has in his natural voice. So
some of the stuff he did with Rick Rubin, I think, and that may have been one of those later in his career.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
It was like The Man in Black is amazing.
Yep.
And
Ain't No Grave.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the three Johnny Cash songs that I use to warm up is God's Gonna Cut You Down, Ain't No Grave, and the remix of Folsom Prison, where it's a little bit more poppy and, like it's got the little bit more techno beat in the background. I love that remix. And those are the three Johnny Cash songs that I throw into my warm-ups. If I was legally allowed to warm up to this music on air, I would. And people would suffer for about 10 minutes, and then it would be great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and oddly enough, the way that I even discovered Ain't No Grave was from The Undertaker. When he used it as his entrance music for like 1 year or for a 6-month period or something. And Dude, that's how I even went down that rabbit hole of that group of Johnny Cash songs.
Yeah. Dude, The Undertaker was probably my second favorite professional wrestler of all time. Like, he was fantastic. I know he's made a couple comebacks in recent years and stuff like that, but I don't watch WWE.
I've been out of watching it regularly for a good number of years, but I respect the fact that he, and he did try a couple different characters over the years, but the fact that that Undertaker character, I mean, that's one of the greatest gimmicks,
dude, for real. And he sells it perfectly. Granted, he's been doing it for a long time, but even back when he started, he sold it and he killed it. And like, even with the eye roll, like, most people can't pull that off in an effective way without looking like they're overdosing on heroin. So he does a great job. And so back in the day, Matt, what was your go-to wrestling programs?
So I watched a lot of it, like early 90s and then late 90s was probably the two eras that I watched it the most, and maybe even as like a very young kid in the 80s. But during the Monday Night Wars, I probably watched WWF at the time and WCW. I watched both of those promotions. But I mean, I don't know that wrestling will ever reach the heights that it hit under the whole, Stone Cold, The Rock, Attitude Era.
Right.
That was kind of its own phenomenon.
It was. And for me, it was back in the days of WCW. Vince Womack brings it up. He says, haven't watched wrestling since shortly after WCW was bought. And I'm actually in the exact same spot. That's when I stopped. I stopped watching shortly thereafter. I gave it about probably a year of the new content, new structure that they had, and I was just not interested because I've never been a fan of the McMahon productions. Most of the stuff they put together is like, and it can be quality content, but it's fraught with shit that makes you like kind of feel dirty about even watching it, because the McMahons are famously shitty people when it comes to treating employees and stuff like that. They've gotten a little better from recent reports that I've heard from the talent in WWE and stuff like that. But the McMahons, you can't change a tiger's stripes.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all I gotta say.
Once they became publicly traded, I'm sure they had to be a little more even-handed
Yeah.
with things. But yeah, I mean they are what they are, and for whatever reason, whenever the WWE purchase got announced a few months back, Vince McMahon comes out with this like ridiculous hair dye. His hair was dyed black, his eyebrows were dyed black, and he had a black pencil thin mustache. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, because
what
that's
is happening here?
totally his style.
Yeah, when did you become the railroad uh, villain? That would like tie the young
Right.
damsel in distress to the railroad tracks. Yeah, that's basically what he became.
That's hilarious. Who was your favorite wrestler back in the day?
It's gonna sound cliche, but probably Hogan.
Dude, Hulk Hogan brought it, bro. He was
Yep.
all kinds of, he's great. My favorite was Sting. So naturally, when Sting and Hulk Hogan had their little head to head, when it was NWO versus WCW and stuff like that, and with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, all those guys, like that was my favorite time period for the Hogan thing, for Hulk Hogan, simply because of Steve Borden, Sting being there. I loved it when he was with the Road Warrior. That's not his name. Was it not the Road Warrior?
Well, they were the Dingo Warriors.
The Dingo Warriors.
The Ultimate Warrior and Sting.
The Ultimate Warrior and Sting.
Back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I loved watching those old clips and like their ability to pair off of each other and stuff like that. And like I got to go to Spring Stampede for WCW when Sting went up against Bill Goldberg. And
cool.
At the time, I absolutely loved both of them. So it broke my fucking heart. Granted, I was a child who had no idea that this is all choreographed. I won't go as far as saying fake because that upsets some people, but it's choreographed. And this was before I knew that. So I thought Sting actually had a good chance of winning. Of course, he gets crushed. So I'm just a mopey little bitch. Yeah, see, Massgrave knows what's up. He says, loved Sting versus NWO rivalry. Yeah. But that was one of the craziest experiences I've ever had, because we went to the venue and it smelled like a fucking state fair. Okay, it smelled like livestock, BO, and beer, and I'm all like, damn. If I knew we were going to be smelling this, like I could have just gone to the fairgrounds right next to our house. But it was amazing. I got two of those stuffed wrestlers, one of Diamond Dallas Page and one of Sting. Well, my brother got the Diamond Dallas Page one, but he grew up faster than I did, so he stopped using them. But I beat the shit out of those things, dude. Like, I'm a little like 9-10-year-old kid just beating the shit out of these stuffed wrestlers. I'm like, oh, here comes Macho Man's elbow drop, and like,
I would and I had some I think I had a Hulk Hogan and maybe an Ultimate Warrior stuffed, figure or whatever you call it, the ones that are about that big.
Yeah.
And I would like jump off the the couch railing onto the ground. I would do the Macho Man elbow drop off the couch onto the floor onto them. I think a lot of kids did that back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate never to break anything with my stunts, but
right, same. I never broke anything, even though looking back, I'm all like, I should have been destroyed by that shit. Hail to One Man Show. It's awesome to see you, bro. And then back then they had the signature moves that actually made an impact on you. Like the Diamond Cutter, the Razor's Edge.
Razor's Edge, that was a great move.
That was fantastic. The
Yep.
Razor's Edge and the atomic power bomb that Kevin Nash would do.
Oh yeah.
Being able to do those in the video games just fucking lit me up as a child because, like, I'm Kevin Nash. I'm 7 feet tall, bitch. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
And he was smart. He wrestled like he was 7 feet tall.
Yep.
Like he made sure to, he exaggerated all his motions to, to show how big he was.
Yep.
And that's what you do. Whatever tools you have at your disposal.
Yeah, especially on a stage like the wrestling ring, because it has to be big, it has to be exaggerated, it has to be in the face of everybody around, and it's wonderful. Like I loved the showboating. Hail to Blair to Blair. How you doing? I loved the showboating that would go on, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan stands out in my mind every time I think about showboating because of his whole patriotic with the 2x4 and like just wearing a big old man diaper, and he's just like, oh, look at me, and the Iron Sheik and all those guys, like they knew how to put on a show. It wasn't a fucking soap opera,
right?
Like
Which back
killed
in the I think it was maybe mid '80s, Iron Sheik and Hacksaw, they were riding together, and they got arrested.
Yep.
And I think Sheik had maybe some pot. Maybe he may have had some harder stuff on him as well, but it really worried. Hacksaw thought his career was going to be over because
right.
One, he was like a baby face riding with a heel, which you weren't supposed to do, and two, because of the the drugs that were found. But
right.
But he came through it. I think he got suspended and that kind of thing. But Hacksaw came out on the other end fine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And like the thing that kind of bothers me about today's media, especially when it comes to professional wrestling, is they're doing the same member berries bullshit that the movies are doing.
Yeah.
They're bringing people out of retirement. They have absolutely no fucking business being out of retirement. Like, did you see when Ric Flair came back for a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, what?
That was not needed. Well, and
I think he's going to poop himself every day. Woo!
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I can remember watching wrestling, and sometimes they would like bring older retired wrestlers back, but it would be in like a non-combatant role.
Right.
It would be like, hey, we're honoring we're honoring Harley Race tonight, or we're honoring this person, but it would just be a cameo. Hey, glad to be here, whatever. They wouldn't be involved like it with an angle or anything.
Right. So did you like Mick Foley at all?
Yeah, I mean, I respected him. I mean, the guy.
Did you have a preferred Mick Foley persona? Cactus Jack.
Cactus
Mankind.
Jack, just because whenever I first became aware of him, that's what he was.
Oh, okay. So. All right. Yeah, Mankind, when he was doing that with the Sacco and stuff.
Yeah.
Like him and Kane playing off each other all the time, like as brothers, was one of my favorite bits that they did in wrestling history, because like there's absolutely no way those two are related. Obviously, but the way they played it, and then who was that manager for all those people? Trina probably knows his name.
Paul Bearer.
Yeah, Paul Bearer. I don't know why that's such an easy name to remember. I don't know what's up with that.
He was from my hometown, and
really,
actually, I knew his son a little bit. Yep.
Oh wow. One Man Show says, 1,000,000 years ago, I met Hawk of the Road Warriors in a drugstore. He suggested that I give wrestling a shot. I was a much younger ogre back then. Well, that's a hell of a encounter, bro. Like when Hawk of the Road Warriors is like, hey, you might want to consider this. Like, that's actually a pretty good compliment, at least to your physique.
Yep.
Like, I know some people can't cut it in the ring because like timing and choreography and stuff like that. And then, there's obviously the weight class issues where a lot of people fall in between the actual official weight classes and it becomes difficult. But so Vince Womack says, What I never liked about the Royal Rumble, shoving old geezers into the ring only to entertain the crowd for 1 minute.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
they'll do that. Like I think Kevin Nash was in the Royal Rumble a few years ago, and
Yep.
yeah,
See, and I liked it back when they were doing like random celebrity appearances of people that you knew were just fucking had no place in the ring whatsoever, like
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan versus Donald Trump.
right. Or they
You
had
know,
Jay Leno.
yeah, Jay Leno
Yeah,
stepped
yeah.
into the ring.
Yeah.
Did they ever get Steve Amell in the ring? I know he was he has a huge fucking hard on for wrestling, but I can't remember if he ever got in the ring.
I don't remember if they did or not. That WCW, they did it. I mean, they had Kevin Green, the football player. They had Dennis Rodman, Karl
Yeah.
Malone.
I remember the Rodman.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't remember who he was fighting, but I remember seeing him and being like, why is he here? Like, if he breaks a toe, he's out for like half a season.
Yeah.
Like, why would you be here right now?
And I think it was like maybe during the playoffs, whenever he was on there, like it was some sort of like critical part of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll notice it's been quite a while since any major athletes have been in a wrestling ring, or at least that I've heard of. And I think it's just from a liability standpoint.
Yeah.
The teams can't afford to have their star athletes get hurt doing something non-football related if possible.
Right. Vince Womack says, have you ever seen the RoboCop matches? I have no idea what that is. Absolutely no idea. Time to Google something. RoboCop wrestling match.
So yeah, in the early '90s, RoboCop, he appeared at least one event at a WCW event. Yeah.
Yeah, one. Yep, 1990. Wow, it looks like he was with the Road Warrior, or
Yeah.
at least nope, that's Sting.
I think that's where Sting blew his knee out.
Wow, that's insane. That what? All right, hold on.
I think Sting was maybe jumping down off of a steel cage, but he did something that, yeah, I think that was maybe that when that happened. Because Sting, he was kind of in and out.
Yeah,
As he got later in his career with injuries.
that's crazy. I didn't even realize they had such a crossover fight.
Yeah,
could you
that's
have
such
imagined?
a random thing to be promoting.
Yeah, could you have imagined like Arnold Schwarzenegger showing up as like the Terminator?
Yeah, that, and I'm sure they probably didn't even have the actor. I think it was Peter Weller. They probably didn't even have him in the suit. It was probably just some random guy.
The insurance on that man was probably a little too expensive.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Massgrave says, y'all got to play the Royal Rumble drinking game. Can easily put down like 8 beers during one Rumble. That sounds like a painful time to me.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, so I also miss the old Hell in a Cell matches. I won't lie about that, where the multi-tiered, like that shit was badass. I don't know if they still do that or not, and I don't care if they do, because like, what am I gonna watch wrestling for? John Cena? Huh? Give me a fucking break.
Right.
Like,
you mean John China, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I always mispronounce that name.
Yeah,
I forget that English is a hard language. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like modern wrestling doesn't do anything for me just because of both the atmosphere and the fact that it is now just a gigantic fucking soap opera. It's just drama. Like I know it's always been like that. They have to have a stage set up for these people to fight each other and et cetera, et cetera. They've done that for a long time. I won't say always, because back in the day, it was literally just this fat guy is going to wrestle this fat guy and we're going to be done with it and it's going to be fantastic. But like, I miss the old, like, I don't know. It seemed more dangerous back in the day.
Right.
In my
Well,
opinion.
I mean, they would do something like I remember there was one time where Jake the Snake had his had his snake actually bite Macho Man in the bicep, like, and they actually had the snake bite him. It was devenomized or whatever the term would
Right.
be, but Macho was like, "Let's do it." I'm like, "You are insane, sir."
Dude,
What if
Macho
that thing,
Man.
what if the thing decides to bite your face, not your arm?
Right.
Yeah,
Macho Man Randy Savage was one of the most complex and skilled individuals I have ever heard of in my life.
yeah.
Okay. He started out as a minor league baseball player who
Hmm.
threw out his arm and decided, okay, well, I'm going to learn to do it with my left hand. And he became ambidextrous.
Yep.
And, like, I don't know anyone else that would do that. They'd hurt their arm and be like, I washed out. And he's like, oh, yeah, brother, I'm just going to throw with my left.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Like, eh, that
He was
man knew how to put on a show. He was a genuinely good individual towards fans and stuff like that. I don't know how he was
Yep.
privately. I'm sure he had his issues because everybody does.
From what I've heard, he helped his brother out financially. Like he would always, his brother Lanny Poffo, the genius, he would always try to get him, work when he could.
Right.
So I mean, now I did hear that he was a little bit obsessively um, in control of Elizabeth whenever they were together. That like if another man looked at her, like he wanted to fight the guy.
The jealous type.
Yeah.
He strikes me as the jealous type. I won't lie. He does strike me as the jealous type. Because obviously he's not around anymore, but at least not until the deep fakes start.
Right.
But
whenever they put his Spider-Man character in the next Spider-Man movie as like a CGI character.
Right. Bonesaw. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the last 4 minutes of the video of our live stream today. It's been a fantastic talk. For not having a topic, we sure made it work. And it's been a fantastic time. Vince Womack brings up before his passing, he competed in the women's weightlifting, according to South Park, at least. Yeah, he would have killed women's weightlifting in real life, man. Like, could you imagine?
Well,
I mean, he
today
does look like the female gym teachers I used to have. So
Yeah. Today he could just announce that he wanted to be in that competition and
right,
legally you'd have to allow it. Yeah.
I am not any longer Macho Man. I am Macho Woman for this single event. Ooh, yeah.
Call me Wanda Savage.
right.
Yeah.
Randy Savage.
I am now Rhonda Savage.
Gosh, that is fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, I will see you tonight on the Monday Meltdown over on Comics Division's channel. For those of you who aren't aware, Yelling at Parked Cars is now a Rumble exclusive, starting later than this old man is willing to stay up. So I will be on Monday Meltdowns on YouTube, but not Yelling at Parked Cars anymore, which I'm perfectly fine with, honestly, because I'm kind of needing a break from how political life has been. So if not talking about it for a couple hours saves me a little bit of trouble, then I'm fine with that. Still get to see the boys, still get to hang out. It's going to be a great time. So, Matt, what do you got going on? Where can people find you? And yeah.
Yeah, well, I get my Twitter handle there at the bottom of my of name there, but primarily I've just of late just been hanging out on Joe's Atmospheres channel. He does a stream every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Central called State of the Atmosphere. So that's where I've been lately. Been also been hanging out some with Jed Ravenwolf. He does a stream Friday nights, and the MFer,
the MFer Lounge and such.
Yep. But yeah, that's primarily where I've been.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, make sure you're subscribed to all those channels. Check those out. Those are all really good guys. Definitely spend some time with them, especially over on Joe Atmospheres. He's very active for posting his content in the Toxel at Town Square Gilded. So make sure you join that. The link is in the live chat. Hopefully the live chat actually replays on this stream. I've been having some difficulties with that myself. If you want to support the channel, then feel free to drop a tip over at the Ko-Fi side of things. And if you want to get something out of your support for the channel, you can always go buy a piece of music. They will never be more than 99 cents for a single track. I just like old school prices. So make sure you go check that out. Right now, the only one up is Total Control, my dubstep metal thing with a little bit of fun vocals on that. I've played it several times on the channel. If you guys want to go check that out, go check that out. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, stay sexy, don't get murdered, and as always, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye. I forgot to push the button. There it is.